Welcome to the Alex Ford Podcast, where we bring you the latest strategies to build a 6 or 7-figure online business and quit your 9-to-5 job. You'll hear from the best online entrepreneurs, the top marketers, and the rising stars who are making it happen right now. Every week, you'll get actionable steps to turn your digital marketing dream into a profitable and rewarding full-time career. Here's your host, entrepreneur, world-class trainer, and marketing strategist, Alex Ford.
All right, today on the Alex Ford Podcast, we have a special guest and a really good friend of mine, Mark Harbert. So I'm excited for him to be on this episode. So Mark Harbert, he's a successful digital marketer with over 150,000 leads generated, which is massive. And he's generated multiple millions of dollars earned from his courses and affiliate products. So despite struggling to provide for his family in the past, Mark's hard work, focus, and determination has paid off, resulting in a 6-figure income, and get this, a single day with over $100,000 in sales. So today, Mark is committed to helping entrepreneurs implement video and automation strategies to free up time for the things that matter most in life. So Mark, would you say hello to the listeners, the viewers, and share with them, if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on, Alex. And it's always great to be here and connect with you. I know we've known each other a couple of years now, and it's been exciting to watch you. And if I had one superpower, boy, it would be fun to fly like Superman. I mean, I think about, how fun it would be just to like say, hey, I'm going to go to London today, and head out there. So,
that's it. Or after having a big launch, which we're going to talk about, you just launched recently, you don't have to get on a plane and share it with, a lot of other people. You just fly there on a break. That'd be amazing, for sure. And I appreciate your words as well, Mark. I got to say, I was thinking earlier before, we got on here, it's like, man, like when did I first hear of Mark? Right? And I remember the exact memory. So, the company used to be called MLSP. They've changed their names, that you're a big part of as well. And I remember when I joined that company, 2015, I was with a network marketing company, and, the typical not getting taught about digital marketing or any, good strategies like that. And I was really seeking for answers. And I joined, this education company. And I remember that first week I joined, there was one training where there was a group of leaders, and you were one of them on there. And the very first thing I heard you say, which I'll never forget, I don't know if you remember this, you were saying about how when you become a marketer, all of a sudden just your reality changes, because when you learn these principles, you just go out through your everyday life, and all of a sudden you start seeing that marketing is everywhere. Like you're seeing like a banner on the street here, and you're just seeing the marketing is everywhere. Like your whole perspective changes, and then you start seeing everything through a marketer's eyes in your life as well. Like, I'm not sure exactly how it was, but you just start seeing everything from this fresh, different perspective you've never seen. And when I heard you say that, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Because as I had been learning this education, that's exactly what had been happening. And then you kind of confirmed an experience I was having. So I don't know if you remember that, Mark, but that was...
Well, I'm sure I said that because I still say that today, and like as marketing, I call it like seeing the Matrix. If you've ever seen the movie The Matrix, once they are aware of the Matrix, now they can look at all the code, and it's, raining on the screen. And that's kind of the way it is. Like when you start learning marketing, you can drive down the road and, you see a billboard and you're like, oh, that's a cool hook, or, you just start looking you start looking at things through that lens, and you start to see the marketing and everything. You see it.
Yeah.
I mean, at every part of it, of your life. And you start to also become really good at deciphering the bull, what's the truth and what's not. And it's just, it starts to become that way.
Oh, I would go as far as saying, seeing the bull in just your everyday relationships too.
Yeah.
It's like, people don't realize it, but there's always a degree of control in communication. Like, who's leading the conversation, who's influencing the other person. And when you learn marketing, it almost like some degree can become like a bit frustrating, maybe in the beginning, because now it's like you're seeing how these people are influencing and manipulating, not in a bad way, but manipulating conversations. And now you have to learn how to also adjust so that you can, have your control in a way, right?
Right.
It's crazy.
It is. Well, cool. And it's like you get to learn where people are using it in a bad way and those that are not. They're just trying to communicate a message. And communication is really what makes good marketing.
Absolutely. Right. As boring as it sounds, but that's what marketing is, right?
Yeah, it's all
communication.
Yep.
Cool. So got some questions for you, Mark. Of course, I'm excited to share a little bit about your story to the viewers, to the audience. And I know a lot of people, they're not going to know who Mark Harbert is. I know some people will, which is awesome. But if you could share us, like, what led you to finding, the online marketing industry initially? So like, where were you before? And then, what was that defining moment that made you pull the trigger and jump into this, online world?
Yeah. So for me, I was in a network marketing company, and this is back in 2008. And I joined that company. I want to say it was like late 2006, 2000, and then early into 2007. And I started really this was my second network marketing company at the time. And I had just jumped in full bore to, going out, doing kind of the old school style stuff. The old school prospecting, the old school, going to the gas stations, talking to the guy or the gal at the pump, trying to drum up conversations. And it kind of hit me one day when I was at a restaurant. I was with my wife and my little baby daughter. She was maybe a year or two at the time. We're at a restaurant, and I'm sitting there and I'm enjoying this time. I'm not enjoying this time because I'm sitting there thinking to myself, how can I prospect the waitress and get her phone number to talk to her about my company? And it was kind of then where I was like, this really sucks. Like, I'm tired of chasing. I'm tired of this. Like, I can't go anywhere without, thinking about how I'm going to prospect people. And so that's when I started just kind of searching out online. How can I start generating leads online? And that took me down the rabbit hole, and I just started learning. This is about 2008. And I started learning how to do Google pay-per-click at the time. And I started learning how to do that. And I started generating leads for my network marketing company. And then I started around late 2008, early 2009, I stumbled across, a lead generation community, which was MLSP at the time. And I just dove head in. I knew that if I was going to really dominate in online marketing, I had to learn lead generation. That was what it was all about. And because I knew if I had more people to talk to, then I could build my network marketing business at the time. And so that was really what got me started. And it wasn't until about 2012, March of 2012, where things really took off for me. Like, I really went in full bore. I jumped in with both feet. I don't know if I was necessarily playing around, but I was stuck to the security of kind of a paycheck. I was doing virtual assistant work, stuff like that. And then, when that kind of got pulled out, I'm like, there is no security. Like, I need to do this now. I'm doing all these things. I was selling on webinars for these other people, selling their products for them. And I'm like, why am I not doing this for me? Like, so I started to, really dive in, and that's kind of how it started. In 2012, I had my breakthrough. I had my first 5-figure month. And, it's been going ever since. So, and that was, over 10 years ago. So.
Wow. And from what I remember a bit about your story, it wasn't so easy when you first got into online marketing. Because if I remember correctly, you bought this, was like an ebook or something, and you had to actually go halves. I think it was like a $10 ebook or something with a friend just to get that education, right? So it wasn't, a lot of people might think like, oh, okay, well, he must have had the money to just do the education.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't in the beginning, just like for most people, like,
well, and that's
people looking.
That was kind of where my breakthrough happened, because I had been doing some of the online stuff and I was still doing other work for other people. And it was right around beginning of 2012, and I was started working with a buddy of mine, and I was just like broke. I mean, I had barely enough to pay the bills. And then one day, um, I was living in Chile in South America at the time, and I just remember vividly walking into the kitchen, and my wife had the refrigerator open. She's like, "Honey, we really need food." And I had literally $7 in my PayPal account. And I lived in Chile, so I couldn't even go to the ATM to pull the money out because there wasn't enough in there for me to pull out. And because you could only do, like a certain amount. And so that was just kind of, I had that day of disgust. And I think that's what snapped in me, that really, that's when I had that moment. Like, why am I doing all this stuff for everybody else? I'm not doing it for me. And I just went on a tear creating videos, like mad. And, at that time it was really easy to rank videos in Google. And I was just getting massive amounts of Google traffic to my videos. And next thing I know, within 2-3 months, I'm generating 150 leads a day for free, and so it just kind of took off from there. But yeah, it's a fun story.
Wow. It's great. It kind of reminds me a bit of what's going on right now, with like the short form video revolution. Because back then YouTube was a big thing to talk about in a sec, in video and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of traffic. It was new. And right now there's, this, TikToks, Instagram reels and all that. Same thing's happening. People can, generate I've been generating up to 200 leads a day through free traffic. So it's like, there's been a lot of space between then and now, but there's times where these opportunities happen where people can jump on board and truly change their life, just like you did. And, I think it took you like 3 months, if I remember correctly, from when you first started, giving it your all with YouTube to your first 5-figure month.
5-figure month. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember because my dad was always, at the time, he was always very skeptical, just like, Mark, you sure, you really should just do. Well, anyway, I was living in Chile and I needed a US address. So I used my dad's address in Florida. So all my checks would come to him and then he would just go deposit them in my account for me. And one day shows up a check for $4,000 and he was like, "Okay, Mark, you made me a believer. I don't know what it is you're doing, but keep it up." I was like, "Thanks, Dad. Love you." So it was kind of a surreal moment.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's like one of the biggest things that people have to get through in the beginning, right? Where you've got friends, family don't believe you. And when things start changing, now it's like their perspectives change.
Yeah.
It's relieving when that happens as well, because it's like now you have family that just believes what you're doing, sort of thing. So,
and also too, like my wife, she was always very supportive of me. But I mean, even at one point she was like, "Look, honey, if something doesn't start happening, you really need to go get a job." And I remember I ended up going to get a job for 2-3 months at an English institute in Chile. And I hated every second of it, but it really pushed me. And I ended up quitting after that, because after that short period, because I started to really, things were really just taking off for me. But I ended up getting another job at a English institute once a week, and all I would do is go in for conversation, and the only reason I did it was to get out of the house because I was working. It was basically making no money, which was fine with me. I was making it all in my online business, but I was going there just to sit there and have conversation with students. It was fun,
Yeah.
So,
and that's the interesting thing, because I heard a while ago too, this a few years ago, that entrepreneurship is one of the most loneliest jobs in the world.
Oh.
And although the money's great, you've had some amazing success since, there is that aspect of, you're at home by yourself, right? And sure, you got your family, but sometimes it's nice to just get out there and connect with other people, which for me, in some ways, I put together this podcast because I want to connect with other people and add more value to, my audience. But also it's just great to connect, with friends like you and others. And
absolutely,
there's ways to connect. It doesn't have to be a podcast, but anyone that's listening, if you're ever feeling lonely in your business, just figure out a way, get a couple of friends that you can make online and you connect on Zoom, because that support network you create makes a huge difference in just continuing to help you build your business.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it.
And since Mark, so we're still talking about back in 2012, like what's some of the success you've created now?
Yeah. So when I started then, I was doing mainly affiliate marketing. That was my thing that really got me going. And then around it was say summer of 2014, I had moved back to the States by then, and I had um, hired a coach. I knew that was where I was making six figures. I was making about 110,000 a year was where I had reached. And I said, okay, like I need to hire a coach. I need somebody to help me get to that next level. And so I ended up hiring my good friend Ray Higdon, and he worked with me. And so I ended up shelling out $50,000 for coaching. And believe me, if there was anybody that was nervous, it was me about shelling out that kind of cash. But I was also like, I know that this investment in myself is going to pay off huge. And it did. I mean, I invested $50,000 in coaching, and that year I did over $520,000 that year. And just because of the things that I had learned from the coaching. So when people, say, well, should I invest in a coach? All I know is from my perspective, every time I've ever invested in a coach, it has always paid me, higher dividends than ever. And so I know that anytime I invest in me, I'm going to take action. The biggest reason a lot of people don't believe investing in themselves is because they're afraid they're not going to take action. Deep down, they don't really believe in themselves that they can do it, what they're putting out there to do. And if you can address that, then when you invest in, coaching with somebody, you're not going to have those issues. When it comes to purchasing a course or a training, you're not going to have those issues because you're going to take action on what you learn. And so that was really for me where that was my next level. And I had started creating my own courses then at that point. And so that was kind of the natural progression for me. It was starting out with affiliate marketing, which I think is the best way for somebody to start, hands down. Start getting out there, learning how to promote other people's products where you don't have to put in all the work. And then when you get to a certain point and you're ready to create your own courses, and you don't necessarily have to do that. You can create your own course if you want to first. But I really think affiliate marketing is a great way to start that, to start that journey.
Absolutely. And you don't have to go prospect waitresses and
Yeah.
you do any of that either. So that's kind of what I've loved about it. Because as you know, I was in the network marketing industry initially, did that the first 7 years in this industry. And yeah, it's tough, not because you have to do hard work, but you're having to do all these things that I almost feel goes against human nature in some ways.
Yeah.
Right. Like, in human nature, you're not just going to walk up to everyone and try to sell them stuff or.
That's why I'm a huge believer in attraction marketing. That's just that's a huge, I don't like getting on the phone with somebody and because I'm still in the network marketing industry, but it's like my conversations on the phone are a totally different deal. Like I am not chasing people, and it's because I'm just using online marketing as the vehicle to get my voice out there. So when I get on the phone, I'm not hearing all the typical things that people hear. But that's why the online marketing aspect is so crucial, especially video,
Yeah.
Because it is a different thing. Like when you have people that are actually interested, as opposed to hardcore, twisting people's arms, just to get on the phone is it's crazy. So
I remember I used to call just cold leads all the time, just, generated from spammy ads. And you would get people hanging up on you. You'd get people yelling at you, swearing at you. And, in the end, I made money doing it. But, I didn't know there was any other options. And I actually ended up finding attraction marketing as well. And then shifting from, literally having to call 100 people to hopefully make one sale to then, having 3, 4, 5 people reaching out and they're fully interested and, almost ready to purchase anything just because there's a relationship and trust established.
Yeah.
It's a huge changer. And yet video is, a huge part that's also helped me as well, which we'll talk about in a sec.
Well,
so awesome.
And I want to point out what you just said, which is so key, is once you've kind of built that relationship through video, There was one time I literally got on a phone with this lady. Never talked to her in my life. Never even knew her. She just set an appointment to talk with me. And within 30 minutes, she had paid me $7,500 to coach her. And I was like, I've never talked. I mean, I talked to her. I could tell she was fired up. She really wanted to, and that she really wanted to get help. And I could tell, just talking to her, she was ready. And I'm like, cool. Well, here's what it'll cost you to do this. And she's like, okay, I'm in. I'm like, wow, man, that was the easiest conversation I ever had. So it's just a different, it's a different deal.
Yep. I've actually had that exact same experience as well.
Yeah.
5,000. So not as much as yours, but it's like, people get on the phone and just like, oh, yeah. And I'll still I think I spend maybe 10 minutes with them. And then it's like, are you ready to do this? Oh, I was ready to do it when I, got on the phone with you. It's like, okay. Yeah. So I didn't have to spend those 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was. So yeah, wow, that's incredible.
I mean, it doesn't happen like that every time, but that's just a testament to like somebody is like, oh, I've been following you for the last 2 months, watching your videos. I love how you just seem this way, or you seem genuine. And I just really jive with what you say. And I'm like, awesome. Just being me,
That's another key there. Just got to be you.
Yeah. So
love your success, man. I know that one of the courses that you released a few years ago, which, you've re-released and recreated. I saw all the promotion and everything, and it just looked incredible what you were doing. But, you had that $100,000 day, which I think is just crazy amazing, right? Because for most people, 100,000 in a year is a dream, but with marketing, you're no longer trading time for money. Right. Rather, you're leveraging by being able to sell products, whether it's your own, or you could even do it as an affiliate, where you're no longer trading time for money. You're just selling as much as you can through your marketing, and allows you to create that sort of success, which I think is incredible. So, man, you've been through a lot. So, obviously you got started in network marketing, you did the old school stuff, the prospecting. I think it was amazing that you said your daughter was 1 to 2 years old when you got into the whole online marketing thing as well. Because my daughter, she was born when I was just getting into this thing a year and a half later. So my daughter's never seen me to work away from home, which you've probably had a similar experience. And, with all your success now that you've got. So it's been an easy journey, right?
Oh yeah, it's been a cakewalk. Yeah. It's so funny. Like, I'm so glad you bring this up, because it's very easy. Like, even people that are listening to this episode right now, it'd be very easy to go, well, it's easy for you to say, Mark, you've had success, and you've got an audience, and you got a list, and you got all this. And it's like, yeah, but when I started, I didn't. Okay. And that's where I think a lot of people, I've just learned human nature, and I know, because I can look back at my own ways of thinking when I was in that same position. And I just remember thinking to myself, well, it's easy for them, they've got all this. And like, yeah, but they didn't at one point either. It's like everybody has to go through like a journey, and it's not an easy one. Like, it's just not like, I think what we do is easy. What's hard is the personal growth, and the personal growth is where things really, that's where you really have to stretch yourself, get outside your comfort zone, and change. And that's not easy for people. That's the hardest part of the whole thing. It's, the generating the leads and, learning some of the skills are actually fairly easy. It's just the matter of putting on the right mindset that, this is why I have this poster behind me, this picture, because that's really what this is about. It's all about persistence. It's like you're going to go and go and go and go, and you don't know when it's going to happen. I've heard people say, how long until I start making money? And my answer is, I have no idea. I have no idea. I can't answer that for you, because your journey is going to be different to mine. I wish it could be like, hey, I promise you that 30 days of doing this and you'll make money. And anybody who does give you a guarantee, I'd start looking the other way. I mean, that should be a huge red flag, because it really is a matter of a personal journey And it's a matter of just sticking in there until it happens. And I went 12 years in the home business space before I really had a breakthrough. And I had my first 6-figure year. And that was in 2012. And I'll tell you, I look back now and I'm like, all the opportunities I had to quit, every opportunity I had. And believe me, I've had them. And it's not like that stopped. I mean, just because people get some success, the personal growth doesn't stop. As a matter of fact, you get more problems that you have to learn to deal with when you start making money, because guess what? The tax man wants his money. That means now I got to hire a CPA. I got to hire all these things. I have to start learning how to handle the money properly. And, it's just a totally different game that you have to start learning. So it's not like you get success and it's all kumbaya and rainbows. It's like, hey, now it's going to demand more personal growth out of you. And I think when you learn to love that journey, that's when things change for you. And I just love it. Like, I love challenging myself. I love, learning more. And I'm about to turn 50. And for me, it's like, I don't ever want to be one of those crotchety old dudes sitting in his chair bitching, that's just me and I ain't changing. I don't ever want to say
that. No, that's amazing. And I was going to ask you, like, what's some of the struggles that you've encountered in your online business, but you've kind of shared that. And the quitting factor, oh man, like, I bet you can't even count how many times you've wanted to quit over the years. Right.
Dude, I just launched this big course and there was a couple points where I was like, oh my God, like I'm ready to step off. Like I'm ready to step off. Like, there's always
going on vacation soon too.
Oh dude, so I'm leaving in 2 days. Like I already told my business manager, I'm like, don't contact me unless there's blood. Like unless there's blood involved, I don't want to know. Like, you handle it. So
yeah. So it's just a part of it. Like, anyone, I think that, like, a lot of people that get into this industry, right? I think the stat is like most people will quit in the first 2 to 3 months on average because they don't have that persistence like you've got there in your office, which I love, by the way, because that is the key. And for me, like, I remember early on as well, when I got into network marketing, that company had a lot of like big testimonials and income claims. And I was like, I'm going to make $20,000 a month in 2 months. Like, I just believed that was going to happen. And then 2 months in, it didn't happen. And I almost quit because I was just like, what? And I remember that feeling. But then I just decided, I heard some other stuff to just give yourself a bigger expectation, even if it takes you 2 years to make it happen, right? Like, where are you going to be in 2 years anyway if you don't do it? And it's like, okay, that kind of makes sense, right? And okay, let me give myself 2 years. And that allowed me to create some success. But over the years, that feeling of quitting has come up often, right? And even till now, maybe not recently, but, even in the last couple of years or so, it sometimes comes up. It can sometimes be like, oh, maybe getting a job would be easier and at times. And
you nailed it.
But then recently it was like, because I work from home, I'm never in rush hour. And, occasionally I have to go do something and I forget that rush hour even exists. And I'll go like, okay, I got to be there somewhere at 4:30, right? 4:45. And I go, and then I'm stuck in rush hour for like an hour. And I'm like, oh my God, this actually exists. And that kind of brings me back to reality and be like, okay, I'm glad I do what I do.
Right? It is, it really is. And I think, you're hitting on it too, because it's not that you immediately get success and you're never going to face discouragement again. Like that's a big fallacy that people have. And it seems nice to hold on to that, but I'm a realist. Like, I like to give people like the straight up, I don't like to sugarcoat it. Like, building a successful business is going to demand every part of you, to be committed to the process. And some people just aren't, and that's okay. But I think for me, the biggest thing is like, if that's not you, just be honest about it. One of the things that I despise, in the online marketing world is when people go, well, oh, I tried that and it didn't work. It's like, no. don't pull that, don't start trying to place blame everywhere else. Put it square back where it deserves, and that's on you. And I'm just, when things don't go right, I don't look to blame other people. And that's something I used to do a lot of. And I've just learned to take responsibility for my life, my actions, everything that I do. And there's such a freedom in that. Because, but not from the standpoint of like, if I screw something up, that I spend days wallowing in it, feeling sorry for myself or beating myself up in such a way that, I'm condemning myself like I'm horrible, I'm crappy, I'm a bad person. I never get into that because that's not true. I think I'm a great person. I have a great wife, a great daughter, wonderful family. I have a great life. I have so much to be thankful for. So I never, ever get into that kind of a mindset. It's all, but when things don't go right, I do look at myself and say, what could I have done better? What can I learn from this experience? And the biggest failures that I've ever had have been some of the greatest learning experiences I've ever had as well. So for me, it's really about that. It's about learning along the way. And that's what has helped me be here, for 15 years now, online marketing,
Yeah, I fully agree. Fully agree with that. And yeah, like what you said about taking responsibility. Oh, I think if anyone that's like watching, listening, if you can just take that one thing about taking responsibility, where the life you have, the life you create, the finances you create, even the family that you create, right? If you take personal responsibility and know that you can create that for yourself based on your own decisions, your own actions and effort, that's game over. You're going to create that success that you've wanted. And you mentioned your daughter. I'd love to know, how has just you become an entrepreneur and a marketer? How has that affected your family, especially in the way that it's impacted your daughter into who she's become? I'd love to know a bit about that.
Yeah. So the interesting part, you had mentioned this earlier too. Like my daughter has never, and we only have one child. She's 17. She just turned 17, and she has never known us to not be home. Like it's just, she's never known us to not be home. And that's a great blessing in and of itself. When she was born, I was working a job, and it was, when she was 3, and then I ended up, so around 2012, she ended up turning, where was she? No, it was about 2010, excuse me. So she was like 5 or 6 when I really, things took off for me. But the fact that I was still kind of working from home, it's just we've always been there, I mean, and I remember that feeling when I was working a job after she was shortly, born, and my wife was working, and we were dropping off our newborn baby at the babysitters at 7, 8 in the morning to go pick her up at 6 o'clock. And I was just like, this sucks, man. Like, we didn't like it, because nobody loves your kid like you do. Nobody's going to take care of them like you do. And, there were just certain things about it. And we tried several babysitters, and we just found ourselves like not happy about it. And eventually we just made the tough decision that my wife was going to quit her job, because she, it didn't make sense for us, for her to work and just keep paying all this childcare out. And, the end result was only a couple $100 extra for all the work she's put in. And we're paying somebody to raise our kid for us, And so it was hard. Like in the beginning, it was tough. It wasn't easy. But the impact on her has been incredible. I mean, we have a wonderful relationship with our daughter. Of course there's been ups and downs, but there has always been such a level of connection with us and her that I don't know that we could have had we always been out of the house working. And it's affected her own relationship. She has a boyfriend, and he's fantastic. We love him, but it's such a great, solid foundation that we were able to help her with, and we're all very close. So it makes a difference.
That's amazing, Mark. You almost brought tears to my eyes just then, because I know you're a few years ahead in the journey.
Yeah.
My daughter
Yeah.
is 9 years old. I've got a
Yeah.
6-year-old son,
Yeah.
and what you've said is exactly what I've noticed, even in our children, because
Yeah.
you know I see from a couple of perspectives. So one, the fact that you get to be at home as a parent, present, it makes a huge difference for your connection, which you mentioned.
Yeah.
Like, my daughter goes to school just like every other kid, and we're in a was a more affluent suburb, so there's a lot of professionals and that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that saddens me is parents are very stressed around here, right? Because they're working a lot, long hours, they're coming home, maybe they're stressed, they're not able to be fully present there with their children. And even if children have a bad day, the parents are not really able to be there to truly connect and understand and help the children work through that. Whereas what we've noticed is like I've got my, office in the living room, and as soon as, the kids come home, if, whatever's happened in school, exciting or not, hey, dad, this happened, can we talk? And the fact that I can go, okay, honey, what's going on? And have a 30-minute conversation, work through whatever's going on. And in the end, her just, go to her room and just be happy and lit up because everything's just come off, all those negative feelings have come off her. Oh man, that has created an amazing connection where now I just feel our children have just are really stepping into this leadership where then in school they perform better. They do better in terms of their learning and their friendships. And it's helped to create better leaders within my children, I feel.
Yeah.
So have 100%. You sensed any of that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's really what it's all about. I mean, and that's where, unfortunately a lot of people don't realize it. And I know a lot of times people are just doing the best they know how. I try not to be too hard because, people, they don't know, but being away from your kids so much, it does affect them. Like it really does. And even now with, there's certain, I just did this big launch and I really had to be cognizant because I'm spending a lot of time doing it. And I really had to kind of be aware that, hey, I need to spend some time with my daughter or my wife, because I've been so busy, so focused. But it's so much easier when I can just, I have my office down here in our basement. It's a finished basement, and I just walk upstairs and I can, be there with my wife. That's a huge deal, man. And I think if people could really grasp onto that, I mean, working from home is awesome and it's the best thing ever, but you still have a boss, and it's you. So you have to learn to be disciplined while you have a business. Because there are times I just don't feel like doing things, but I do it anyway because I know I need to, because it's part of what I do. So you do have to have a level of discipline, I think, in order to work from home as well. But the effect it has on the family is just, we're together so much. Sometimes we're like, hey, you know what? Why don't you go off with your friends? I'll go off with mine for a weekend. It's like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like you're together so much, that you don't even realize it. And when I'm traveling or going somewhere, my wife's like, I don't want you to go. I'm like, I know, honey, I'm home all the time though. And she's like, I know, but still. So it's kind of like, it's kind of funny how it all, kind of shakes.
That's a wife thing. I get this.
Yeah, it's a wife thing.
And sometimes as a husband, you're just like, babe, you go to bed early. I'm watching a movie tonight by myself.
Right. Yep. So
that's amazing. So, well, let's get into some strategy, Mark. I know video marketing has been a big game changer for you and it's been a big part of your success. Yeah. So I'd love you to share a little bit more. I mean, you've shared quite a bit already, but let's explore maybe what video marketing is. I know a big part of what you do is helping people overcome that fear of video marketing, because I almost feel like what's that? People think the greatest fear for people is speaking on stage or something after the fear of death, number 2. And I almost feel like maybe number 3 is fear of video marketing as well, right? Or getting on camera. So tell me, how has video marketing shaped your business, and
everything.
go from there.
I mean, it's everything. Like, it's not optional today. I mean, I'm just putting that out there. It is not optional. Like I just don't believe you can be successful in the online environment without putting yourself on video. I just don't. Some people might disagree with me on that, but the truth is like from a standpoint of being able to get your products and services out there, they want to know who they're doing business with. They just do. And there is especially if you're building like a personal brand, being on video is essential to that. People need to know you, feel you, connect with you. And especially in the affiliate marketing, network marketing, make money online space. Video plays a massive role in people's ability to go, I like him. I like her. I dig what they say. I really connect with them. I relate to them. And it just makes people more inclined to want to pull out their credit card and buy from you. And so it has, changed my business for the better. My goal is really focusing on getting people over the initial hump a lot, because I have worked with people I recently had somebody I was working with, and she paid me to coach her, and I could not get this woman to create a video for nothing. Like I tried, but the fear was so big for her. And sometimes people they're not willing to overcome the fear that they have. And you have to be willing to step out there a little bit and put yourself out there and be willing to allow yourself to be, if you want to call it judged, I don't know. Whatever. I mean, I really could care less if people judge me. Like, I'm just so over it. Like, I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think of me. Like, I don't even care. Like, say what you want. Like, I don't base my self-worth on your opinion is how I look at it, and I think that's through years and years of putting myself out there. And I always tell people, like, I'm very upfront with people when it comes to doing video, that when you put yourself out there, you will get trolls. It's just a guarantee. And I've had some of the nastiest trolls you could probably ever have. I had one guy one time tell me to kill myself. And I was like, yeah, okay, great. Delete, block, and it was like, you just learn that. And I've really adopted the idea that I think one of the greatest sayings ever is love your neighbor as yourself. And when people can't love their neighbor, it's really because they don't love themselves. So if you look at the motivation behind comments like that, you begin to understand that it really has zero to do with you. And it just changes your whole perspective. And that allows you to show up on the video totally different. Like, it allows you to just show up and not be so concerned about what people think. Because if they're going to make a nasty comment, if they're going to comment on maybe the wart you have on your forehead, or, maybe you're a little chubby around the midsection like me, or, whatever it
What's
might
wrong with
be.
Your hair?
I know, right? It could be the hair, whatever it is. And you really start to realize that if people have to like make comments like that, it really isn't about you. It's really not. And I think once you learn that, it changes the whole perspective, and you can just create, even though you get the haters. And the truth is, haters are actually an asset when it comes to videos, because they drive engagement, and it just throws the net out there wider to people that are inclined to want to connect with you.
I think you just dropped a huge gold nugget just there. Haters aren't an asset, because when I learned that, it became a game.
Yeah.
How can I create content that has some degree of polarity? For anyone that doesn't know what that means, it's just that stirs up both sides of opinion, right? And you're going to make some people really excited for your message, and you're going to make some people really angry for it. And when you can get that right, and obviously you got to get to that point where you don't care either, just like you've shared. But when you get that right, yeah, like your haters will drive your content, which will push it out in social media, and you'll get a lot more views. And not to get political here, but I think one of the most amazing person that does this right now is Donald Trump, because there's people that absolutely love him and there's people that absolutely want to kill him, right?
Yeah.
So then the people that love him, they're commenting and they're defending him, and the people that, you know, absolutely hate him, they're trying to put out as much hate as they can. And this is why, like, you know, all the news and the media and all that constantly try to figure out how they can keep him on the news, because it drives views. And of course, if we're driving views, it drives money, right, from the media and for anyone in marketing. So being able to get comfortable with that, haters are an asset. I think that's one of the most powerful just words in marketing that, you know, you could remember and use.
Yep, it's huge, man. Like, it really is a big deal. You know, earlier we were talking about the Matrix. You know, once you start seeing the Matrix, you can look at the news media and go, I get it now. I know exactly why they do what they do, because all of that negativity that they pump out there, which I can't stand, and I really don't watch it. First off, I don't trust them, period. End of story. But beside all that, there's a reason they do stuff like they do. And it's to drum up that, you know, that emotional state of somebody, which drives engagement, it drives clicks, and it drives revenue for them. And when you start really looking at that, you're like, how could I do that, but use it in a positive way and be a little bit, you know, create that polarity, like you said, but also use it in a positive spin, you know? So
Which I think it's spot on, because you can use that for bad, or you can use it for good,
right,
as well. So being able to use it to impact people's lives, and you know, whatever anyone's selling, whether it's affiliate products, network marketing, your own products, if it's something that can change people's lives, then you're doing it for good, as long as you're not purposely going out there to hurt people, which I think is important too. Wow. So that's amazing. And what sort of strategies do you use, Mark, for video marketing? So actually, this is probably a better question. I think that a lot of beginners would be watching this as well. So if someone was getting started today and they're like, okay, do have a bit of a fear of video, but Mark said some good things, just accept it, accept the trolls and the haters, and just put yourself out there. But what strategy do I start with? How do I start growing my business using video? What would be your recommendation?
Definitely start with short video. I think that's the best way, because I've had people that are very afraid to get on video, but they're okay with, hey, you could create a video that's like a B-roll type video and then just put text overlay on it. That's a good way to start, where you're in the video, you're just not saying something. You just got some text on there. That's a great way to start too. And then as you begin to go, I'm also a fan of long form video. You know, long form video is not going away. Even though short video is huge, look at TikTok. You can now have videos up to 10 minutes long, and they're now got a creator fund that they're creating for people that do videos over 60 seconds. You know, so they're really starting to push into the long video game as well. So long video still has a great place, but when you're first getting started, I would definitely say short form video is a great way to start, because it's just kind of inching your toes in there. And I also have this little system that I use for people, and it's called the Simple 15 plan. If you really want to get started, and the Simple 15 plan is simple. It's very easy. If you've never done videos before and you want to do them, so the Simple 15 is 5, 5, and 5. So the first 5 videos that you do, you basically pull out your phone and you put it on yourself and you create 5 1-minute videos. And these videos, you're not going to post them anywhere. You're not even going to put them up on TikTok or nowhere. They're only going to be on your phone, and that's it. And what that Simple 15 is basically the first 5, you're just going to talk about 1 minute. Why are you doing your business? Number 2, talk about your family. Number 3, talk about the city you live in and why you love it. Number 4, talk about a product that you sell. Number 5, whatever it can be, and you just record them and leave them on your phone. Don't do anything. Matter of fact, you can delete them when you're done. And the goal of that is just to get you in front of the camera and get you used to it. The next 5 videos that you do is you're going to do 5 1 minute videos again, but I like to create what's called a Facebook test group. So I have a group called the Mark Harbert Test Group, and it's just only me in there. And so whenever I want to test like a live streaming software, or I want to whatever, I use it for that purpose. But people can start their own test group and then create 5 more videos and then post those videos in that group, just so you get used to like posting and how it feels and what it feels like. And then the next 5 videos, you can do 5 live videos into your test group. Or if you feel comfortable by then, you can go live on your profile or your page or whatever. And then by that time, you're really going to be in kind of a mode, and you should be ready to go. Because a lot of times people just don't create because they're not in the mode of creating, and you got to get into that mode. And the Simple 15 plan, I think, is the best way to do that. It just gets you creating, get you thinking. And once you get moving, now it's a lot easier to keep going. And that really works well for people. I've literally watched people recreate videos saying, oh my gosh, this little plan Mark talked about, like, really helped me get into creating videos, and it's a very simple way to do it.
Wow. There we go. Actionable tip, guys. I think that's powerful because getting out of your comfort zone, I think that's the big part of it, right? It's stretching that comfort zone slowly and in a safe way as well, where there's not going to be any judgment. There's not going to be anyone, any haters, right? Yeah. It's just getting yourself out there and practicing it.
Yeah.
And once you've done it a few times, you might even go, oh, that wasn't as hard as what I thought it would be, right? And then you might feel like taking that next step and doing it live, and you've built up that confidence to do it. So yeah, what did you call it, Mark? The 5-5-5?
I call it the Simple 15 plan.
Oh, okay, the Simple 15 plan.
5-5-5.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So if anyone's watching this, go implement that, right? Like the faster you can implement that and do that, the faster you're going to build that confidence and move forwards in building your business. So powerful.
And the thing is too, is a lot of people say, well, I'm not very good. Well, of course you're not good. You're just starting. Of course you're not going to be good at the beginning. Like it's kind of goofy to think, like, we would never think that, hey, I'm going to go out and play basketball in my driveway and I expect to be Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? Or LeBron James or whoever. Of course not, because you haven't put in the time, the practice. So you got to start somewhere. The more you do, the better you get.
That's incredible. You know what? You've inspired me to do something right now that is hugely out of my comfort zone. Let me share it with you.
Yeah.
So in 2011, so when I got into network marketing, so it was August 2011, November 2011, I went on a trip with that company, and they never taught about video marketing or anything like that. And it was actually an event in Tahiti, and I went and I took a camera and everything, and I tried recording a video. So out of my comfort zone, because it's like creating videos. If you know how, like, have the knowledge, like the structure, you do research and and then you follow that structure, it's easy, much easier, because you have that knowledge of how to do it. And I didn't have that. And I recently found that video of me where I tried to record a video. Very embarrassing. And one day I was like, maybe I should share it. Maybe I should not share it. I'd love to share a 10, 15-second clip right now.
Do it, man.
And by the way, I look younger. Okay. Sound a bit different as well. Just the way I speak has changed. But let me just quickly play 20 seconds of this, because I want people to know what Mark's saying. Everyone starts somewhere. I was terrible. I wasn't even being myself. I was trying to be something that I'm not, trying to be confident. But you know what? This is where we all start. Let me quickly hit play here.
Hey guys, so this is Alex. I'm coming from... Hey guys, so this is Alex. I'm coming to you from Tahiti. Hey guys, so this is Alex. I'm coming to you from Le Méridien Hotel in Tahiti. Now, I'm here at our 5-day event. Hey guys, this is Alex. I'm coming to you from the Meridian Hotel, Tahiti. Now, I'm here for our 5-day event with about 150 to 200 other amazing people. Now, I just want to let you know that today was the first day of the event and it was incredible. The things you just learn from here, it's, what can I say? It's mind-blowing. Definitely life-changing. We're learning some concepts about life. If you've ever thought there's no manual to life, think wrong.
That was awesome, man.
Mark,
That was
was
awesome because you are
cringing.
definitely not like that. Like,
I'm telling you. And you know what? It's just like a lot of feelings come up watching that because I know this is, everyone's going to see that.
Yeah.
But I was just cringing there. And first video ever. I don't think many people can say they still have that first video. And I just found it by accident on a hard drive once. And it's funny because I'm not being myself, trying to be cool. I don't know if you noticed, it's like every time I kept coming back to the chair, I didn't know what to say. I had no structure on how do I structure content. I was talking too much about myself instead of delivering something that could add value. And because of the uncomfortableness, every time I spoke, my voice got deeper and then deeper and then deeper because I don't know. And man,
that's awesome.
I think this is a perfect example of like, you're going to suck. What you said, Mark, you're going to suck.
You have to, like, everybody starts somewhere. And that's why, like, whenever I hear somebody like, oh, well, it's easy for you, I'm like, yeah, you just don't get it, man. Like, everybody starts at the same place. I just happen to be further along in the journey than you are. Or, you see yourself, Alex, where people look at you and they see all the videos you do. And it's like, well, it's easy for him. And I'm like, no, it's not easy for him. It was just as hard. He's just been persistent, and keeps at it. And if you really, really get that attitude of like, I'm just going to do this, I'm not giving up until it happens. You're going to work through those hard things. That video you just showed was a perfect example of that. So.
Exactly. And the other thing you said, which I just want to kind of reinforce, is you don't even have to do like those complicated talking videos, especially today. Like those short videos, like you said, like literally, sometimes I'll be out and about and I just record my kids, or I'll be like, hey, my wife will record me. Occasionally she'll be like, because she sees the perspective of what I'm doing. She'll be like, hey, just like if I'm on my laptop, just keep working. I'm just going to record a quick video of you. She'll record a 10-second video of whatever I'm doing, not even looking at the camera. And then later I can just put that into TikTok, put some text over it. I don't have to talk. I don't even have to come up with the text anymore, because you can look at what other people are doing and get ideas and just reword whatever they're using. Or now we've got Chat GPT, right? Which has been out for a few months. You could say, Chat GPT, write me a, 50-word, text about XYZ topic. You don't even have to come up with that content ideas. So it is so it's never been so easy and simple to create video content like it is right now. So, perfect opportunity for anyone to jump on with that.
Yeah.
So,
I got started back in the day. And I always tell people this, but it's like, I legitimately have a story that's like, hey, I went to school in 4 feet of snow 5 miles away and I had to walk through it. That was kind of the way it was with video back in, 2008, 2009. Like, you didn't have these. It wasn't as simple, where you just create a video and you can upload it and have it up in 30 seconds. It was like, record the video on a camcorder, which you had to firewire to the computer. And then I had to have a program on the computer. I hit play on that camera, and then I hit record on the computer. So it records the video going into the computer. And then when I'm done, I have to save it and export it and then take that file and then upload it. I mean, we're literally talking like, an hour process to get a video.
And you've only mentioned about 10% of the entire process just there.
Yeah, really.
Then you've got to edit it, and then you've
if you want to edit it, it's a whole different deal. I mean, it's just a whole different deal.
Yeah.
And today it's just really like, so, but ultimately when it gets down to it, it's just the fear that keeps people from doing what they know they need to do. So.
Yeah. Awesome. There you go, guys. If you want to do a video, just make it happen. Just make your first one. Don't even think about being consistent with it right now. Just make that first one and go from there. Cool. All right, Mara, let's move on. So I would love to know, what advice would you have for someone that's just getting started, and let's say hasn't had a breakthrough in their business yet?
Yeah.
And then on the other side of the coin, someone who's already having success and wants to take their business to the next level. So maybe they want to get to multiple 6 figures or 7 figures.
Yeah. The greatest thing I could suggest is whatever state you're in, as far as whatever level you're in your business, you highly should consider, number one, find yourself a good mentor and hire a coach. Hire somebody. One of the things that I believe in is coaching. It's one of those things that, I love doing, but I also believe in coaching. Like I'd literally just dropped myself within literally the last couple weeks, $50K to a coach. Because I'm looking to go to that next level. And this person that I'm paying is an 8-figure marketer. They make between like 10 and 20 million a year. So it's like, in order for me to really grow, I need to know what's going on in their head. I need to know what they do that I don't. And I think that that's one of the best ways to shortcut your success is hire somebody, get with somebody you trust that you can help you get over those hurdles, whatever they are, and be willing to come in and just put all of yourself into what you're doing. And but that is probably definitely one of the biggest things that I can suggest doing. But also you just have to get into action mode and you get better as you go. Always be investing in you is the best thing you can ever do. The best money you'll ever spend is investing in your skills, ever. And that's why coaching and courses and training and learning and then implementing are the greatest things you can do. Because once you invest in a skill and you learn a skill, it's with you always. It'll never go away. Like, you can always lean on that skill. There's certain things I use today and I teach today and I do myself today that I learned 10 years ago from a course I paid $250 or $300 for, 10 years ago. But that one tip that I use is still so valid today that it's probably paid me tens of thousands of dollars, just that one little tip, and I think if you start to look at the things that you invest in every day, you realize the greatest, investment is in you. That's the greatest thing you can do. So never be afraid to invest in your skills. Never buy a course or coaching with the idea that this is the last course I'm ever going to buy. This is the last coach I'm ever going to hire. If you go at it with that attitude, then you're never going to get where you want to go, because life is a learning process. Whatever you do, you've always got to be learning, always implementing. And you only learn by implementation. You can get head knowledge, and most people get the head knowledge, but they don't practice it, what they know, and therefore they don't get the learned knowledge or the application knowledge. And it's really truly the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is knowledge. It's just head knowledge. Wisdom is knowledge applied. It's you go out and you apply it, and that's where you get wisdom. And wisdom is what you really want. And that's what you should pursue. So.
That's awesome. I would definitely back everything you've said, because throughout my years in, especially when I finally started learning online marketing, every time I invested into a coach, I always got something from it because I took action on it. And there's even been times I've invested $10,000 on a coach and maybe I got 1 or 2 things that were the biggest thing, right? But talking about that money, anyone that's listening, you do not have to spend $50,000 or $10,000 on a coach. Just wanted to put that out there because some people are probably going to be like, oh my God, I need to do that. Right? Like there's levels to this stuff, right? When you're new, sometimes there's good coaches you could hire for $100 $200 right? For a session, maybe two, right? You really got to find those people that are creating results. But even education, right? I mean, Mark's got lots of education that we'll, share a bit about it in a sec, right? That you can invest. And that's also coaching in a way, except that, you're getting that person's knowledge, right? It might not be one-on-one, but they're still coaching you through a process to, go to the next level. Some of the best investments in my life have been $200, $300 on a course. That's helped me, take my business to the next level. But yes, I mean, definitely. And that's for anyone, right? And then if you are six-figure earner and you want to go to multiple six figures or seven, just like Mark wants to, go to the next level, maybe a $50,000 investment might be worth it, right? So it just really depends on where you're at.
The way I look at it is like, people hear 50,000, they cringe. It's like, well, how much do people pay to go to college? People are dropping 30 to 50 grand a year to go to college.
Multiple years, right?
Yeah. It's like, so it's like, I just look at it like that, so.
Awesome. So Mark, in hindsight,
what
do you wish you had known when you started out? So something that you feel would have helped you to make money a lot faster with digital marketing.
Yeah. If I would have known when I first got started, I would have definitely looked to plug into some type of a community sooner. You really need to get around other people. There's plenty of, online communities. Get with Alex, there's plenty of places that you can get into, but you really need a group of people to run with. And I definitely, when I first got started, I tended to be more just, on my own. But once I started really connecting with people, that's when I realized, oh man, this is what really, what it really takes. Get around other people that are heading in the same direction as you. And that's really where I focus now. So I love it. I've actually got my own community that I've created. It's a paid community, but it's like, it's a cool way to run. I get to share all of the stuff that I learn with people that want to learn it and want to hear about it, and they pay a monthly fee. So it's cool.
Definitely. And yeah, absolutely. Like it's powerful. And I think I would say that is the missing key for a lot of people when they don't have that, because like you said, everyone's heading in the same direction, but it's also about, you're not alone. There's other people that are just like you that are in the same situation, the same position, and they're working towards the same goals. So when you're around that, all of a sudden that just gives you this energy and passion and ability to go and create that success for yourself. So that's awesome. So I know, what was your community called? I think it was TSL something.
TLS Insiders, and TLS means traffic lead sales. But it's really, one of the huge focuses we have is always around video. That's really the primary way, but traffic lead sales. And there's obviously, there's more that goes into marketing online than just creating videos. Obviously you've got funnels and email lists and all those types of things. So we talk about all that too. So.
Awesome. Well, there you go, guys. A little plug there for you. There. All right, Mark. So give us one final key takeaway for creating success with a digital marketing business. Then share how people can connect with you. I know there's something else that you also wanted to share for the audience, and then we'll say goodbye.
I think the biggest key that I can give you is, again, I'm going to keep pointing to this. It's just be persistent. Like get a mean on, just very determined that even in the down times when you're feeling like, when is this going to happen for me? I'm so tired of this. I'm this and that, and you're just feeling down, and we all go through that. So, you're not alone in that idea. You just have to learn that I've just got to keep moving. I just got to keep going. Even though I'm feeling discouraged, the things that maybe aren't happening as fast as I wanted to. And by the way, you're definitely not the only person that's ever felt that way. I have felt that way even, in recent years. Even while I'm making money, why are things not happening, is the way I want it to? And that's always the biggest thing. But if you just learn to be persistent, and keep going, keep moving, keep doing, keep testing, keep trying. Once you start to really, adopt that mentality, things will definitely help for you. Things will definitely start to click for you. And I think that's the important thing. So, and what else were you saying, Alex?
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, firstly, that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Persistence, guys. Like embed that in your brains because that is a key. And then, so how can people connect with you, Mark?
So there's definitely my blog, markharbert.com. But one of the things too and I know you've got a link for that, Alex, is that I've put together a presentation, and it's basically about the 4-step video framework for creating videos. And it is something I've used for years. It applies to long form video. It applies to short form video. It's kind of one of those 10,000 foot view on really how you create videos, coming up with concepts, things like that, and putting it into something that you can actually take action on. And that's really what the training is all about. It's going to help you to understand that. And of course I put together, a massive training system that'll really show you how to do that. But this is definitely the first step, is to learn what that 4-step formula is, that framework, so to speak. And when you have a basic framework that you can work from, you know that, hey, I just need to master these areas, and this is where you can really go big. And I just want to point out one thing, and we didn't talk about this, but there are a lot of misconceptions I think people have about video. I just want to tell you, like, I know people who are 7-figure earners, multiple 7-figure earners online, and they've never gone viral once, not once, so I'm not against going viral. Of course, we want to try and get videos to get out there and a lot of people to see them. But I think a lot of times people think, well, I got to go viral in order to really make it big. And it's just not the case. I actually think not going viral is the best asset, because the more videos you create, especially when you start using things like Facebook Reels and even TikToks, you can actually, and then you can start moving into a little bit of paid marketing where you can actually retarget the people that have watched your videos. So it's like, if you create 100 videos, they all get 200 videos each, or 200 views each. Let's just say out of that, you end up getting, 5,000 people, viewers, individual viewers over that. You can retarget those 5,000 viewers, because those have been the people that have seen you and gotten to know you. So there's a lot of power in not going viral. And I think once you shift the idea a little bit, people can understand that. But that presentation is definitely going to help people.
Yep. And that's at alexfordpodcast.com/no fear. And why no fear? Why do we have no fear here on the link, Mark?
Because that's the biggest thing people have to overcome, is their fear of getting on the camera. And if you can overcome that, which is exactly what I show you how to do in that presentation, I nail some of the biggest fears people have and how to get rid of them. And a lot of times we have fear just because we just simply don't know. And I think when people have a framework to work from, the fear goes away. Because a lot of the fear is, I don't want to get on camera. I don't know what to say. I don't know what this, I don't know that. Well, that's the goal, is to show you those things so that you can alleviate a lot of that fear. And then the little fears that you have of insecurities of, like we said, bad hair, a wart, whatever it may be, all those little things, you start to learn to get over that too. So.
Awesome. And I totally agree, because yes, in the beginning, I remember you let little things kind of get in the way, and it's like, oh, my hair's not done, or my clothes isn't clean, or all of these things. But over time, that's just holding yourself back from taking action. But when you overcome that fear, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, you haven't done your hair, who cares? You haven't, you're not wearing the best clothes. My clothes isn't ironed, who cares? I used to iron all my clothes all the time, only until probably early this year, decided stop ironing my clothes. Who cares? And now I actually feel good not having, saving that time. So yeah, definitely. So guys, go check that out. That's alexfordpodcast.com/no fear. You're going to get that video series, and Mark can help you just overcome those fears, because on the other side of those fears, once you overcome them, is the business that you actually wanted to grow, the reason you got started to be able to create that life as well. And that's going to help you to be able to move forward so that you can have that life and business that you've always wanted. So alexfordpodcast.com/no fear. All right. So that wraps up this episode. Mark, it's been amazing hanging out with you again. Thanks so much for sharing, so much value and your golden nuggets here. I know what you've shared is going to help so many people. Wish you plenty of success and hope that we do this again sometime. All right.
Yeah. Thanks, Alex. Great to be out here, man.
Awesome. Goodbye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Alex Ford Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to visit alexfordpodcast.com for more free resources on how to build a 6 or 7-figure online business and turn your digital marketing dream into a profitable and rewarding full-time career. And if you love this podcast, remember to subscribe and follow Alex on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.